It didn't create like careers, like literally for other
Dude,
artists.
you were so right. This album literally created careers for artists.
Yeah.
Damn.
That weren't there beforehand.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Welcome back, everybody, to the Soul Serum podcast. I am your Reggie Cotta host, Playboi. I am joined by my
I'm your brother
co-host, Tanner Mavis, and we are back. Merry Christmas, everybody. Tanner, we got to talk about something very important today. It has been 2 whole years since Playboi Carti dropped his polarizing, aggressive, rage-inducing, long-awaited project, Whole Lotta Red.
Feels like yesterday.
It really does, man. It is aged like fucking fine wine. It is so good still. I want to take some time today to examine what the rap game was like before he dropped, the general reception of the album upon its release, and the footprint and aftermath of Whole Lotta Red. Mm-hmm. So let's go back in time here, because, context is important. Shout out to the genius.com contributors on the Whole Lotta Red page. I was going to type out a whole pre-Whole Lotta Red timeline, but they just fucking have it all right here. So
that's fire.
Thank you all. Appreciate that. Stop me at any point where I'm reading this if you want to talk about a certain moment in here. So Carti's first announcement, the first time the term Whole Lotta Red gets announced, is in 2018. It was during a recording of Carti that surfaced in which he first says Whole Lotta Red. Spring of 2019, Carti then says that Virgil Abloh is going to be the creative director of the album. In summer of 2019, The Fader does a cover story for Carti where he says the album has guest appearances from Trippie Redd and Gunna, production from Pierre, Molly Raw, Don Cannon, among other people.
Bro, he must have thrown that whole shit away.
He threw the whole fucking thing away, dude. None of that exists. Like, none of that shit exists. And then during a performance in 2019, and I remember this video, Carti announces that he's going to release the album within 60 days. He says, and I quote, "I'm trying to drop that shit in the next 60 days. I ain't gonna lie, it feel like we worked too hard for this moment, so I'm gonna do this shit with no features." Great, Carti. Yeah. 60 days later, not a fucking thing. It's dry out there. After that, though, is one of the first times that me and you have an interaction with each other, the Soul Serum house show. Yeah. And you were dressed up for Halloween as a clown. Yeah. Right? What did your shirt say?
My shirt said "Still no Whole Lotta Red" or something like that. And just I was a clown for thinking that it was coming.
We were all clowns, man. I think it's important to note that within all of this, Carti is also tweeting stuff. There's real Carti fans are looking at every movement on the internet, and I mean, it felt real. Yeah. It really felt like Carti was going to give us that album long before he did.
100%.
2020 happens. On April 16th of 2020, he releases At Me, which received kind of reception.
Iffy.
It's okay. Which video we talked about that in our one-off singles video. I think we gave it a B.
Not my favorite Carti song.
Yeah, I think we gave it a B. And then finally, at this point, I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
fuck this shit. We're not gonna get this fucking album. Yeah. I don't want it anymore.
No, I wouldn't like that. But I was just like, we'll get it when we get it. I need to stop fucking wanting this album, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's a trivia question for you. How many episodes of the podcast do you think that we have done since Whole Lotta Red has come out?
How many have we done?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. This is just kind of a side note. I meant to ask you this earlier, but I'm just curious. What do you think?
60.
We've done 80.
Holy shit.
We've done over 80 podcasts since Whole Lotta Red came out.
That's crazy.
It's kind of wild to think about.
And we took breaks too.
Yeah. Anywho. So in November of 2020, Carti shared on Instagram that the album had been turned into his label. Album finished. Slap. It's the tweet, I think, which is in the podcast where we talk about that. I think it's episode like fucking 9 or 10 or something is when the he goes on Instagram Live and we hear
the snippet to New Tank.
To New Tank, which fucking
Yeah.
rocked my world, shook me.
Yeah.
And you call it in the podcast because I'm still being super cynical about it. I'm like, this shit, like what? I'll believe it when I see it. Blah 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 blah. And you're like, it's coming in December, bro. Like it's got to. It has to come in December. And you were right about that. On December 11th, DJ Academics during a live stream says, which is then of course comes on the album where he talks about Kanye West and Matthew Williams of how DJ Academics says it of Givenchy. Are going to be the executive producers of this album. And then red graffiti tags start surfacing around the United States with album release dates, which were supposed to be December 14th. We don't get it then. December 21st, a week later, we get the cover art. And motherfucking 4 days later, December 25th, 2020, Whole Lotta Red is dropped.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. I stayed up. It was always like, this is a very fun fact for me. Too. So I'm gonna bring it up. I was in the same room as Jack Harlow when we listened to Whole Lotta Red for the first time.
I forgot we talked about this.
Yeah, I went back to Louisville and we have some mutual friends and we were at the same house. It's just kind of like a funny thing.
And you listened to it with him?
I'm like, we're like, it's like fucking 15 of us or 20 of us in a room because we all knew it was coming. And our homie Dan had a huge fucking sound bar and we're all just like, well, we're all more kind of like,
what is this?
Fuck's going on, man? What's happening? I remember like I was on Genius looking at the lyrics as we're listening to each song. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I know I like it. That was my initial reaction to Whole Lotta Red. And look, we know a lot of y'all changed y'all's opinion on the album, okay? I'm going to just come out and say it right now. There's been a lot of revisionist history on how people received the album. A lot of y'all were hating, but I can't blame you because it was strange when it came out, right? What was your first reactions when you were listening?
I thought it was wild. I thought it just shook everything because I think I don't know. I think hip hop was just getting to this really, not like complacent, but super trying to recreate past moments and past things. I think that's what Uzi did with Eternal Take. He tried to recreate past albums that he had done. Yeah. And I think that's why Eternal Take isn't one of his more stronger albums and why he's kind of taken his time more so now with his approach to music.
I agree.
But I don't know. It shook me too, bro. Like I didn't think we could get even like a crazier, like punk type of sound from Carti because he was already doing it to an extent to where my brain was like, this is it. But like he took it and like blew the roof off of it like once again. Yeah. And took it to a fucking whole different level.
And let's note here, we kind of like hinted towards it earlier, but you said something like he deleted all that shit. We get this Whole Lotta Red sound because of the Carti leak culture. I don't even know how else to explain it.
Yeah, we didn't even get to that.
It's like we get Die Lit, right? In between Die Lit and Whole Lotta Red, we're getting all these snippets, but it's not just like snippets, it's people stealing songs.
Yeah, literally.
And we're getting songs that would have been on
like
the first version of
fully mixed and mastered CDQs of songs that Carti would have put out, but they were just out
for so long. And it's like, what's the point of putting this on an album if y'all already have 200 songs on a playlist that I was gonna put out?
Like we've talked about it, like the Kid Cudi snippet in 2019, like that was the biggest song out. And it wasn't out.
So funny, dude.
Like everybody knew the song.
Yeah, absolutely. So we then because I think it's been reported, right? Like Carti scraps the whole project and then makes the whole Lotta Red as we know it now within these couple of months.
Yeah, it was literally apparently he made it within a month
or like right before he released it too.
And that's what it feels like. He went into that mode that I think low key he had been he had this idea of whole Lotta Red, and he had been waiting for this feeling inside of him to like come to him to where he could create the music that and vibe and feeling that was matching, the idea of whole Lotta Red was supposed to be. And I feel like he just got in that mode within this month, this streak, this this headspace that he was in after the passing of them or of Bino or I think it was Bino.
Yeah. Let me do some research.
But that's what it feels like. This whole album, like you could tell it was all made within a month and they were all made in the same sessions. Like this is not this like stacking up of songs over 3 years. Like this was all in the same room, all in the same space.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And I think it's kind of important to note that too. This album is a little rough around the edges in a good way though.
It's extremely impulsive album, I feel like.
Yes. It's I think we were having this moment. People talk about it a lot with like that initial SoundCloud wave, the Lil Pump, Smoke Perp kind of moment, but where hip hop goes punk a little bit, where it's kind of like, fuck you, fuck the establishment. Like if I want to say yeah on a song 82 times, I'm going to say yeah on a song 82 times. Fuck you, old heads. And while this album is not punk in that way, it's punk in the sense of like quick songs, get in, get out, don't think about it too much. Put whatever's in your head into these songs and let's go to the next one. And I love that about it. And there's real aggression.
Yes.
There's real emotion in this. Also, I think a lot of people forget that this is the first time that Carti on some of these songs is, I hesitate to use the word lyrical, but is making an attempt to be lyrical or making an attempt to have a song with a lot more themes to it. You know what I mean? In a sense of like on the last song, Feel Like Dying. It's about the most honest we've ever gotten Carti on a song.
Yep.
Right? Like in even Control, it's a Carti love song.
Yeah.
And he's like,
we've gotten Carti love songs before,
but I feel like this is different though. This is the most focused he's ever been on making a song with an idea.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just
no.
trying to make you narrow in on your point.
That is fair. No, that's totally fair. But I think that's one thing that stood out to me on this album too. And like I said, when I first listened to it, I knew that I liked it, but I was like confused. And then you just keep listening. Keep listening. You're like, oh, he's kind of going crazy on this. Like,
I knew I got into it like on Rockstar Made. Like I was going to the beginning and I heard Rockstar Made first. I'm just like this is hard, but like I don't know if I see myself listening to like this for a long period of time. Like I had to be in this right space. I was like, he's kind of like off. Like lyric, like offbeat kind of in a way, but I was like, I don't know, but it's super raw.
Yeah.
And I just kept going and I got to Stop Breathing. And went and just I listened to what he was saying, and I was like, "Oh my god!
He's
like this man is pissed the fuck off."
Yes.
Like
yes.
It was infectious, his anger, because like I don't know, all art, is feeling, it's mood, and its expression, and I think all feelings and all moods, are valid and need to be expressed like. And through art, because anybody can relate to, all the various moods. And, anger is one that like gets you like super hyped up when someone's, especially someone like Carti, when you feel true anger coming through like a song, like, it. Like,
I think one thing we haven't said yet that we definitely need to bring up is how abrupt this album was. Before this, there is like little to no
rollout.
Well, there's no little. I was talking about more like the sound of it.
Oh yeah,
like the sound.
No hint of what was that this was going to happen.
No, I mean,
because we think it's going to sound like the Leaks. Like
of course we think
it's going to sound in that world. But then we got the new Tank, snippet, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be way different than we thought it was gonna be.
Industrial, gross, like dirty, rolled around in the ground,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? And of course, after this, and let me just be clear, I'm not saying that Carti started rage music or started the rage beats, but before December 25th,
Yeah.
after December 25th, we get the fucking rage.
The whole lane and portal opens up for
Because of
the
this
next
album.
Literally, like, I feel like the new wave and the new underground sprouted because of Whole Lotta Red, for real.
I think so.
It opened up a whole new lane.
You said it earlier, but rap felt a little stale.
Yeah, it did.
At the time that this came out. And in our Sofago review, by the way, go watch that. In our Sofago review, you brought up like the Sofago album came out
a week before
this.
Yeah.
Which I just think, which I didn't realize, but I think is really funny in retrospect. It's almost like Sofago was like this bubbling force, and then Carti was like, "Get the fuck out of the way! I'm here. It's me." But I agree with you. I think so much of this next underground SoundCloud wave that we get is you can pinpoint it directly to this album right here.
Yeah, like all of Opium wouldn't be a thing without Whole Lotta Red. Like Ken Carson's sound, Destroy Lonely sound, Homicide Gang sound.
Dare I say?
Like Yeet too.
Dare I say? Yeet.
Like all the beats that he was hopping on. Like granted, like vocally, he's extremely different from Carti, but like there's a lot of sensibilities and elements and things that Yeet himself will tell you that he was a big Carti and Uzi fan. Like,
he only wants to work with goats. He only wants to work with Uzi Carti.
Yeah.
Like, I forget what that whole quote was, but he said something like that. And I think that is what we need to keep reminding people about Whole Lotta Red, because now that we have lived with it for so long and it has aged so well, it feels like it's always been, at least for me, it feels like it's almost always been with us. It's always been a part of
I agree.
us. But really in that moment, it was so out there. It was something that I had never experienced from hip hop, much less from Carti. I mean, in a way, kind of now that I'm thinking about it, in a similar but different way, some of the early Odd Future stuff, I think probably made me feel like this because it was abrupt in its own way. It was aggressive in its own way. But to get this from Carti just felt like everything shifted. Everything flipped upside down.
100%.
Yeah. And man, okay, what did you say? Before we were recording, you put a poll up on Twitter.
Yeah, I put a poll up on Twitter like the day after Whole Lotta Red dropped, and I literally just said Eternal Take or Whole Lotta Red, and like over 90% of people voted Eternal Take, and which I knew that was going to happen because like the discourse on Twitter was, people were saying Whole Lotta Red was trash and Uzi's album was better and this and that, which I knew they didn't mean that because people were also trashing Uzi's album as well. I don't know. I knew it was going to be that way.
Yeah.
I knew this album would grow on people just from because it dropped during COVID, and I knew as soon as he started performing it live and like videos started like going viral live. I think once the real moment was when he performed at Lollapalooza right before Miley Cyrus, and Miley Cyrus fans got like killed, well, not killed, but literally, but like figuratively, they had no idea that was gonna happen. Like, Lollapalooza, whoever curated that lineup is fucking dumb as hell for putting Carti before Miley Cyrus. Like, I would love to see be there and see like the Carti fans on one side and the Miley Cyrus fans on the other. Like, that's hilarious.
Hindsight is 2020. You would have never done that after knowing what happens. But no, I think great point. What is so cool about this album too is the live performances we get from Carti afterwards. I think they're actually really important.
Yeah, that's what grew the album. That's what grew the album was the live performance, all the videos. Like the stage where it's just flashes of like strobe lights or red and like hella smoke. You don't really see Carti. You just see a silhouette of him, and then you see some dude just shredding the guitar like live. And it's a full one track like through like experience. Like the music it never stops.
Yeah.
It's just like transitioning through the guitar.
Yes.
And it's just a whole live album experience.
I gotta be honest with you. This is gonna sound like some fucking like TikTok commenters shit, but they're right about this though. Is like, who in hip hop has a better live performance than Carti?
Yeah, right now it's hard to say.
Kendrick ? But I mean it's a different.
It's apples to oranges.
Kendrick has a theater production damn near. Carti is going on stage. When we saw him in Highland Heights, he did not say hello.
No.
He did not say Cincinnati, what's up?
No.
He did not. He was just like just like screaming at us the whole time. That was also a spiritual experience. Seeing him on the first of the month. I know we already did a podcast about it and everything, but seeing him on the first of the month.
That hit different.
Oh, man, that shit was crazy. That's probably like a top 10 day in my life, I would say.
And that was literally a year after it had dropped. Like it was like December 1st of 2021. So I really feel like it took a year plus for people to come around to, because it's just music. It's like when something's so out there like this happens and people are just dragging it, saying it sucks, people won't come around to it until other people tell them that it's cool. Yeah. And then they'll be like, all right, I'll give it another shot. And they start, liking a little bit more about it.
Also, listening to this album on your laptop with headphones on versus listening to this album on a big speaker with other people.
Crazy.
Way different experience, and also I might even argue how it should be experienced is at the loudest fucking volume.
It's the only way to listen to it
with other people.
I don't want to listen to this I could listen to it while I'm driving in the car, but like I would need some people in there with me. We're about to go, like we're heading somewhere to get fucked up or something.
That's
or
when
we're heading
I listened
to a
to
destination.
This was an after work special for me. Like when I'd leave work and I'd just be in a mood to just fucking
turn that shit up.
Stop breathing, just.
Yeah, it's the only way to play this is at full volume.
Yes.
Like you can't play this at half volume.
Yes,
it's the only way.
Okay, before we wrap this up, are there any songs or any lyrics on this album that you feel like need to get pointed out, shouted out? I think Lamborghini parked outside. It's purple like lean.
Yeah,
and also they thought I was gay.
Yes.
Holy shit, man. I love that because Carti started posting all those like pictures and people started calling him like a gay vampire and da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, oh, y'all want to call me a gay vampire? Guess what, bitch? I am. They thought I was gay. And he just fully went for the vampire theme.
I think looking back at the project, Stop Breathing is the song that like represents the album as a whole.
Yes, agreed.
Like the highlight.
Agreed.
And I think
Wake Up Filthy.
Half of it is because of obviously the song is crazy and the energy is insane and what he was talking about. He is the most pissed off on this song more than any other song. And the shit that he's talking about, but also the live experience. Like that's the song that he came out to. That we it's been a while since we saw like live footage of Carti for the pandemic, and he came out to like this song at all of his shows.
Yes. I think it's actually interesting you bring that up too. Like, this is the song that I think that is the biggest. It represents the album the most, but also the song where Carti, like when you go into the Carti lore and you really see what he's talking about and these people that he's mentioning and name dropping, some real shit, real beef,
He's bringing a lot of beef to the light, and he's literally lighting it on fire.
He's lighting it on fire, and he has 14-year-old white kids at the show
saying something about shaking Ola for a pie. They have no idea who Ola Runt is.
Free problem child. Smoking on the henchman.
Yeah. Man, he's literally playing with fire.
I got mob ties. I got fucking mob ties. And
Yeah.
that he does.
Yeah.
Carti absolutely does. That's the thing too. And Carti talks about this in his interview in Double XL that came out earlier this year. But he's like, you know, like people know me for the music and everything, but like I was really in the streets. I really have affiliations and I really have associations there, and I can't just leave that, you know?
Yeah.
He talks about that a little bit, and I think it's just an interesting
place that he's in.
It's an interesting place that he's in. But this album, let's wrap it up here. I think this album, when we look back on music like 20, 30, 40 years from now, and we're looking at like albums of the decade or albums of this year, albums that change shit.
This is one of them.
This is one of them. I mean, this deserves to be heralded as much as a classic fucking. I'm trying to think of an album like this might be a stretch, but Black Sabbath's Masters of Reality came out in 1971 and completely changed rock music as we know it, making it sludgy, making it hard. The imagery, what they're talking about, completely changes. You see so many Black Sabbath inspired albums and music after that. And I think Whole Lotta Red is going to be looked at in a very similar way, where we look back at Whole Lotta Red as this pinpoint, and then we see all of the influence and the footprint that comes after it.
And we were already seeing it. It's been 2 years, man. It's by far the most influential hip hop album of the last 2 years. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah. Leaps and
like
bounds.
There's nothing. I can't think of a hip hop album that's come out in the last 2 years that, you know, you can directly say this had an impact on so many other artists. You know, you could say a few of them had a light impact, you know what I mean? But I don't think it created it didn't create like careers, like literally for other artists.
You were so right. This album literally created careers for artists.
Yeah.
Damn.
That weren't there beforehand.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That is a great way to put it. That's exactly what this album did. Any last thoughts? Any last thoughts on this before we get
I mean, I think I said on the first one that this is like the Yeezus of the 20s.
Fuck, you did say that, dude.
And I think that's facts.
Shit.
And I think that's facts.
You killed that, man. You fucking killed that. You killed that, bro. Because if y'all go back and watch the episode, I think it's episode 9. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but like, I mean, I have some predictions, but Tanner fucking nails the predictions. Like, you are on point with that. Yes,
I felt it, bro.
This is the Yeezus of the 2020s. I totally agree.
Because when did Yeezus come out? 2013?
2013, yeah.
Because at that time, like the sounds that were coming off of there was just so left field.
Kanye was like, here's Twisted Fantasy, Cruel Summer, Watch the Throne. But by the way, I'm about to fuck y'all up.
Yeah. It kind of had similar
aggression.
Yeah, similar aggression. Yeah.
Oh, it makes you just want to grit your teeth.
Which made sense as to why Carti will put Kanye on the album too.
Kanye is still listed executive producer of this album.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, Van. I think we've covered a lot of bases. I think we've covered what we need to with this album. If you all have any other opinions, thoughts, revelations, comparisons for this album, drop them below in the comments or hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at Soul Serum. Man, subscribe to the main page, the TV page, TikTok, Discord. Weekly Twitch streams coming out every Wednesday. Come join us. Come hang out. Listen to some music. Merry motherfucking Christmas.
Yes, sir.
God damn it. Happy holidays. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Appreciate you all listening. And as always, I'm your host, Clay Bonine.
Co-host T Mavis.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Deuces.